Ellen Ripley wasn't just a survivor, she was a working class hero, fighting not just aliens but the corporations that saw human lives as expendable. But over 4 movies, that legacy was reshaped, elevated, and then Joss Whedon brought it to a screeching halt. What started as a groundbreaking portrayal of strength, resilience, and survival in the face of unimaginable terror took a sharp turn, from an everyday woman battling impossible odds to something else. Let's break down how Ripley's transformation went from iconic to irreparably flawed. Alien, 1979. Ellen Ripley is a warrant officer aboard the Nostromo, a commercial towing spaceship. She's not a soldier, not a scientist, just a worker trying to do her job and get home. When the crew receives a distress signal, protocol demands they investigate. But when Kane returns with a parasite attached to his face, Ripley follows quarantine regulations and refuses to let him on board. Dallas and Ash overrule her, setting the stage for disaster. As the crew's picked off, one by one, Ripley proves herself more competent than the ship's official leadership. Dallas, the captain, is indecisive, often avoiding direct action and failing to keep the crew organized. His leadership collapses when the alien begins hunting them, and his attempt to flush it out of the air ducts ends in his death. Without him, the crew is left floundering, and Ripley is forced to step up. The real enemy reveals itself. Weyland-Yutani, the faceless corporation that values the xenomorph more than human lives. Ash, the ship's science officer, is revealed to be a synthetic human, an agent of the company secretly working against the crew's interests. When Ripley uncovers his true purpose, he violently attacks her, attempting to choke her to death by shoving a rolled-up magazine down her throat. A disturbing moment that highlights the corporation's utter disregard for human dignity. Parker and Lambert manage to subdue Ash, and when they interrogate his severed head, he delivers Weyland-Yutani's cold verdict. The crew is expendable. The message is clear. This isn't just about survival against an alien. It's about fighting a system that sees workers as disposable assets. Ripley's final confrontation isn't just against the xenomorph, but against the system that put her and her crew in danger in the first place. She blows up the Nostromo, severing her ties with the company's interests, and faces the alien alone. In the end, it's not brute force that saves her, but her intelligence, determination, and refusal to be another casualty of corporate greed. But what does Weyland-Yutani truly believe it can gain from a force as uncontrollable and destructive as the xenomorph? Where does their arrogance come from? The belief they can harness something that exists only to kill. They're willing to sacrifice their own workers, competent, intelligent people who only lack the means to fight an apex predator, just to preserve a creature that sees all life as nothing but prey to be exploited. Ripley trivia. Was Ripley supposed to be a man? Originally, yes. The role was written as gender neutral. Why did Ash attack Ripley? As a synthetic, his real mission was to ensure the xenomorphs survived. Crew, expendable. Aliens, 1986. After drifting in hypersleep for 57 years, Ripley wakes to find her old life gone. Tellingly, Weyland-Yutani never searched for the Nostromo or attempted a rescue. They simply let her disappear, her life slipping away while she remained in stasis. Her daughter has died of old age, and the world has moved on without her. But what haunts her most are the xenomorphs. Nightmares of the creature that slaughtered her crew consume her. She warns Weyland-Yutani about the deadly threat, recounting every horrifying detail, but they dismiss her as hysterical, claiming no evidence of the species exists. They're lying. They revoke her flight status, stripping her of the only career she had left. That changes when contact is lost with the colony on LV-426, the very planet where she and her crew first encountered the alien eggs. Suddenly, Weyland-Yutani needs her expertise. Enter Carter Burke, the smooth-talking company man who feigns sympathy, telling Ripley that going back will help her reclaim her life. He plays the role of an ally, promising she'll be there only as an advisor, but in truth, he's manipulating her. His real goal isn't closure or safety, it's profit. Ripley initially wants nothing to do with LV-426, but Burke convinces her that the colony has been thriving for decades with no signs of xenomorph activity. He assures her that she'll be safe, that the company isn't taking any unnecessary risks. Shocker, he's lying. When they arrive, she finds the colony is in ruins. Its halls littered with signs of a violent struggle, acid burns, barricades, and eerie silence. The colonists didn't vanish. They were hunted. The colonial marines, at first, are dismissive of Ripley. She's a civilian, an outsider, someone they don't take seriously. But she proves herself in a language they understand. Experience. When she effortlessly operates the exosuit loader, the sci-fi equivalent of being forklift certified, she shows she's no stranger to hard work. She's not an officer barking orders from above. She's one of them, someone who knows what it means to get her hands dirty. Yet when the mission falls apart, it's not their military training that saves them, it's Ripley. She prioritizes survival, urging them to cut their losses and nuke the site from orbit. But once again, Weyland-Yutani's interests come first. Burke wants to smuggle xenomorphs back to Earth, even if it means sacrificing everyone else. Ripley's fight isn't just against the aliens. It's against a corporation willing to gamble with human lives for a biological weapon they can't possibly control. The truth comes out when Ripley discovers that Burke was responsible for sending the colonists to investigate the derelict ship. He knew about the xenomorph eggs, but kept it quiet, allowing innocent families, children included, to walk straight into danger. His goal was never safety. It was securing a specimen for corporate research, no matter the cost. Ripley's rage is only matched by her disgust when she realizes Burke has an even worse plan. With the mission unraveling, he intends to smuggle xenomorph embryos back to Earth by impregnating Ripley and Newt, a young girl and the colony's only survivor. Ugh. He locks them in a room with two facehuggers, fully expecting them to wake up as hosts for Weyland-Yutani's latest assets. It's a betrayal beyond corporate greed. It's personal. Burke not only manipulated her into returning, but he's willing to let her suffer the same fate as Kane just to secure his own future. When Ripley exposes his treachery to the Marines, it solidifies the central truth of the Alien franchise. The xenomorphs may be monsters, but the real horror is the human institutions willing to feed people to them for profit. Ripley trivia. How long was Ripley in hyperspace? 57 years. What happened to Ripley's daughter? She died of old age before Ripley woke up. If you're enjoying this breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into iconic characters and storytelling. Let me know in the comments what you think about Ripley's journey. Does she still hold up as one of sci-fi's greatest heroes? Let's discuss. Alien 3, 1992. Ripley crash lands on Florina 161, a prison planet run by forgotten men. These are the lowest of the low, abandoned by society, left to rot. Even here, corporate negligence thrives. The first death isn't from the alien, but from a prisoner being pulled into a fan, an industrial accident that no one seems too concerned about. Okay, admittedly, the man was pulled into the fan by a xenomorph, but no one knows it at the time. With no real oversight, the prison is run by a man the inmates mockingly call 85, a reference to his rumored IQ. He is more concerned with maintaining the illusion of control than actually ensuring anyone's safety. The prisoners, abandoned by society, have turned to religion as a means of coping, a desperate attempt to find meaning in a place designed to be forgotten. Their faith binds them together, but it also makes them resistant to Ripley at first. To them, she is an outsider, a disruption to the fragile order they've built. Yet as chaos unfolds, it becomes clear that blind faith won't save them, only action will. With no weapons and no real leadership, Ripley once again steps up. The men fear her, threaten her, but ultimately they respect her when she takes charge. The revelation that she carries a xenomorph queen inside her turns her into a walking death sentence. Weyland-Yutani arrives, not to save her, but to exploit her. She sees the final trap. She was never meant to escape. The only way to truly beat the company is to deny them their prize. Her final act isn't just self-sacrifice, it's a refusal to be used as a corporate asset. Ripley trivia. Why did Ripley shave her head? Lice infestations on Florina 161. How did Ripley get impregnated? A xenomorph queen embryo was implanted while she was in hypersleep. Alien Resurrection, 1997. 200 years later, Ripley is brought back, but not as herself. Weyland-Yutani is gone, but its legacy lives on in the United Systems military. They clone Ripley to harvest the xenomorph inside her, but in the process, they create something a little unnatural. This Ripley is stronger, faster, with acid for blood, but she isn't really Ripley anymore. Resurrection fundamentally misunderstands what made Ripley such a compelling character. She was never a superhero. She was an ordinary woman facing extraordinary threats. Her strength came not from genetic enhancements, but from her intelligence, resilience, and ability to manage the people and resources around her. In the past, she survived not by brute force, but by thinking ahead, making tough calls, and rallying others to her cause. Resurrection discards this entirely, turning her into a detached, almost inhuman figure. She barely engages with those around her, instead relying on her newfound superhuman abilities, punching through walls, beating up men twice her size, and even developing a psychic connection with the xenomorphs. For instance, there's an entire scene focused solely on showcasing Ripley's basketball skills. The Ripley who once fought tirelessly to protect those under her command is gone, replaced by someone who seems above it all, stripped of the very quality that made her a working class hero. This is where the working class hero dies. The relatable, everyday survivor is gone, replaced with a quippy action hero. Joss Whedon's script turns Ripley into something unrecognizable. No longer the every woman fighting against corporate greed, but a genetically enhanced superhuman. What's left is a shell of what Ripley once represented. Ripley trivia. How was Ripley cloned? Scientists used DNA from her remains to extract the xenomorph queen inside her. Does Ripley still have memories? Some, but she is no longer fully human. Conclusion. Ripley versus the system. From a blue-collar worker fighting for her crew's safety to a prisoner taking a final stand against corporate greed, Ripley was never just a survivor. She was a working-class hero. She didn't just fight monsters, but the systems that enabled them. In the end, her greatest enemy wasn't the xenomorph. It was Weyland-Yutani and everything it stood for. What do you think made Ripley such a compelling protagonist? Was it her resilience, her intelligence, or her ability to lead when others failed? And do you think her transformation and resurrection stayed true to her character, or did it strip away what made her so relatable? Okay, I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments below, and we will talk soon. Have a good one. Bye.